the SABC has learnt that following the local government elections, opposition parties met 2 days ago on the 7th. We now speak to UDM leader General Bantu Holomisa. Thank you very much for joining us. He's in Pretoria. Good evening to you. Can you tell us, did these talks take place, and if so, what transpired?
Yes, I confirm that there was a meeting between the small parties and the bigger one, EFF, COPE, UDM, and United Front. And we met to interpret exactly what message the voters were sending last week as a result of the outcome of the results we are talking about. We identify certain areas which needs to be attended in the short term if we were to work together or be invited by ANC or DA. And then later on, we met DA leadership, where we were also joined by Freedom Front Plus and COPE. Yeah, COPE was also there. Yes.
All right. So, what are you hoping to do? I mean, are you united in moving forward and how to deal with the ANC and the DA, or are these three parties, DA, ANC, EFF, talking without you in the interim and perhaps could come to some deals even without you other parties?
The truth of the matter is that the three big parties needs to be given a space to negotiate amongst themselves. But the EFF has made it clear that it would like to work with the small parties as we normally do in Parliament. I got the same message as well from my man, the leader of the DA. Therefore, we decided as small parties to draw up a document which would guide us as to what kinds of demands we put in the immediately, and what demands we would like to see in the medium to long term. And if we negotiate, we put those demands to ANC or DA. If they agree, then we agree on the time frames and as to who's going to sponsor to implement those programs.
All right. So what about policy issues? This is something that a lot of people from the outside looking in are just saying, look, a lot of these partnerships don't look like they can get off the ground because a lot of these parties seem to be so far apart, particularly when you consider things like the land issue that the EFF seems to be quite stuck on. Well,
if we want to succeed at local government level, we need to apply what I would call a non-partisan approach and also depoliticize the local government as possible, because it's about daily issues. People want water, want electricity, roads, potholes, you name it. But long term, we have identified those issues which might be contentious, like the land issue, property ownership, nationalization, election reforms, party funding legislation, strengthening of Chapter 9 institutions. Under that, we are proposing that there should be a national convention to look into those issues. But if DA and ANC were to say tomorrow, yes, we say, all right, we propose the following time frames, so that you don't just say yes because you just want my vote. And if you don't meet these requirements or these deadlines, then we pull out of that coalition. There is no doubt that the mandate we have been given by the country last week, it sent a strong signal to say no longer, not again, that we are going to see the administration at local government being dominated by one party. So we have to come up with a model which would not tamper with the existing programs, but expedite implementation of these service delivery problems. On that, we are recommending that this is a period for us to review the budget in any way. Why wouldn't we not review the budget to reprioritize and attend to these service delivery problems, which are creating an instability, which are sending a wrong signal to the would-be investors, like to say South Africa is on fire? Why must we not listen to the people?
All right. When you say listen to the people, I'm just wondering, you said you had to analyze what the people had said in their voting. What do you think they said to the ANC first?
Well, it looks like they are saying to the ANC, never again shall we put all our eggs under you or in you. So we are taking this power now. We want it to be shared among South African political parties. And also they are saying to the ANC, your arrogance of power and high levels of corruption, misuse of power, this is not what South Africans fought for. You have disappointed us.
All right. Are there any non-negotiables for you as the UDM? You know, people are talking about things like e-tolls, for example.
Well, there is no such a thing as non-negotiable. If you agree to endorse a principle of sitting around a table and meet your opponent or whoever, then you can't talk of such things as non-negotiable. We have a limitation of 2 weeks here. We have to come up with an agreement as soon as possible. Or alternatively, DA and ANC can meet and talk, because they are the ones who have been given a main mandate. If you split the votes, they can introduce a government of local unity like Mandela and de Klerk did. In fact, such a thing would even improve race relations, which their leadership during the campaigns, especially Zuma, lambasting the DA of being, lambasting Mr. Maimane of being a stooge and so on. Is he a stooge himself? Because National Party is right there in Parliament with them. The advisors to the government, the cabinet, the former cabinet members of de Klerk are currently fundraising for the ANC. So this question of non-racialism, who has a legitimate own to it? I thought everybody is free now in South Africa to have in their ranks people of all colors. Why would you say so-and-so is a sellout? Are you also a sellout? Because ANC is sitting with West oppressors in their ranks.
It seems as well that national issues seem to have filtered down to the local government level. As these coalitions take place, is there a discussion taking place to remind office bearers that actually the story is happening on a local level, and some of these national issues that are perhaps have been inflamed are national issues, not local?
It comes from in fact, you can blame the election campaigns which took place in our local government this year, because they took a national image. Even the issues which were raised, if you remember the debates, they were about national issues. But the key now is to interpret the mandate given to all political parties in South Africa. Unfortunately, you cannot address the local economy without attending to issues which are a mandate of or a competence of national departments. Take, for instance, the land issue, the housing, the water. Those issues need a consensus at national level. Unfortunately, we have to live with that.
All right, perhaps finally, with 27 hung councils, Do you think by August 20 that the political parties can set aside their differences and find a way forward? Because ultimately, it's the citizens of South Africa that are waiting to get councils that can deliver what they need.
I think we can do that within this week. There's no problem there. What you need to do, the ANC, EFF, and DA, either EFF choose which route to travel, with DA or with ANC, and it will be easy to find a solution on these issues quickly.
All right, General Bantu Holomisa, thank you very much indeed for your time. So that was the leader of the UDM giving us an insight to some of the talks that have been taking place, but I'm sure that a lot more will be happening in the coming days as the top three parties, as they're being described, come in discussions to try and form councils in those 27 hung councils across the country.